Hello. Hi, everyone. My name is Malcolm Grissom. I am the anti-bullying comedian. Yes, and people ask me, um, well, first of all, I want to share something interesting about me, something different about me. I was born in the back seat of a sports car, a tiny sports car. I was born in the back seat. And my dad said I was really lucky because I was born and conceived in the same place. How many people can say that? Anyway, I am, as I said, I am the anti-bullying comedian. Why did I choose that route? Well, let me share a story. Let me share my story a little bit. I was I was bullied as a child. Um, Externally by other people. My mom bullied me. Uh, I was bullied by kids at school, and I was also the victim of internal bullying for most of my life. And it's because of that that I am doing this to help people to prevent this so they don't have to fall into this trap that I've fallen into. And that is why I do this. So let me take a temperature in the room. How many of you have been coerced by your father to lose your virginity at 13 to a prostitute? Anyone? Suffered from sexual addiction for many, many years? Okay, well, just me. So, yes, when I was 9, I had a disease called Ray's syndrome. And this disease uh, took away my ability to walk and talk. It left me bedridden. It took about all in all took about a year all in all for me to relearn how to walk and talk. And of course, when I say walk and talk, I mean like shuffle and talk very slow and slurred and stilted. And so my mother chose to put me back into school long before I was ready. Basically, as soon as I could get around on my own, she said, "It's time for you to go back to school." And so I went back to school. And of course, I wasn't ready. I didn't know who I was at that point because my whole identity was blown. The friends that I had, because before my illness, I was very, very popular. Everyone loved me. Now I'm like, it was like black and white. So the kids are scared. They don't know what's going on. So I'm experiencing bullying from them every day for about 2 years. And then my internal bully, and I'll explain that in a moment, my internal bully, which had actually started much earlier, like when I was 5, because of my mother and things that my mother said and did. My internal bully, that voice that kept telling me I'm not good enough, I'm a monster, I don't deserve to live. That voice, that was that followed me from especially from going back to school. That's when it got louder and grew loud, um and it became a permanent fixture in my life. And that voice has followed me throughout my life, throughout becoming a stand-up comedian and uh, almost committing suicide because of things that I believed from this voice. And I do what I do because I want to help others to avoid situations like this, to get rid of their inner bully or deactivate the bomb that the inner bully is. The inner bomb. The inner bully. Well, first of all, before I define the inner bully, let me go back to Julia Cameron and The Artist's Way. I'm sure a lot of people have heard of that. That was a bestseller back in the day. Julia Cameron described three voices or three parts of the creative mind: the creator or the artist, that is the voice that creates things, that comes up with ideas, and the editor. The editor is very simply the person or the voice that comes in and says, that doesn't sound right, let's reword that. It sounds better with if you say it this way, if you do it this way, that would be better. Let's edit that process. Okay. And then there's the judge. The judge is the voice or the part of the mind that says, okay, this is a valid idea. You should go on with this. You should continue this. Or, no, I don't think this idea will work because of this and that. Those are the three voices that Julia Cameron described. The inner bully is a fourth voice. The inner bully is a voice, it's a distorted voice. Everything the inner bully says is distorted, right? So the inner bully is that voice that tells you you're not good enough, or because your significant other hasn't contacted you, that means they'll never contact you again, and they don't love you, right? It extremes. So exaggerations and extremes. That's what the inner bully does. Distortions and extremes. That's the inner bully, right? So the judge who might say, this is not a good idea to do this. It's not a good idea to walk down this street late at night because it's a creepy part of the neighborhood. Then the inner bully would take that and turn that around and say something like, you're no good. You shouldn't even be walking out at night in the dark. I mean, come on, you can't defend yourself. You're a wimp. Come on, buddy. Right? That would be the inner bully. Totally exaggerates, distorts, and extremes. Takes everything to an extreme. That's the inner bully. So I had this inner bully. When I was 5, my parents went through a divorce, and they used me as the messenger while they fought each other. And I was also, things that my mom said to me also put me down, and I kept that voice that told me I'm not good enough. That is my inner bully. So I have uh, gifted you a little gift. It's called the 5 Steps to Defeating Your Inner Bully. And I go into a little more detail. Since I only have about 9 minutes left, I'm only going to break it down into 3 simple steps. The 3 Ds: dumb, dumber, and dumbest. No, I'm kidding. Detect, detach, and detox. Detect, detach, detox. So, detect. The first thing we want to do is detect that inner bully. Separate that inner bully voice from the judge, right? Or the critic, as I call it. Right, which is someone we need the critic, we need the judge at times. We need some voice to say, don't do that. It's dangerous. So we need to detect the inner bully from the judge, and we can always do that by noticing what the inner bully says. Is it a distortion? Does it include an absolute? If it includes an absolute, and if it includes a distortion, that, my friends, is the inner bully. So we've detected that, right? We detect that. We look at all the different voices going on in our head, all the different all the different ways that we behave. Wait, I'm not all the different ways that we behave. I don't know what that means. No, we look at the different voices in our head, and we detect what is distorted and what is not. The distortions are the inner bully. They come from the inner bully. So now we're going to move on to detach. Detach is, the way I explain it, it's very simple, but it is a very difficult step. But once you master this step, you're golden. Okay. Detach is separating yourself from the inner bully. And there are a couple of ways that I suggest that you do that. First of all, picture your inner bully however you want. You can picture your inner bully as a color, picture your inner bully as a person, as a word, but picture your inner bully. Secondly, you might want to give your inner bully a name. So picture it and name it. I call my inner bully Mini Mama because that's where my inner bully comes from. Mama. stuff that you said. So mini mama is my inner bully. And I recognize what mini mama says. Again, going back to detect their distortions. I have a voice for mini mama. Mini mama sounds like this. All right. She sounds like this, right? And so anytime I hear a voice that sounds anything like this, I know it's mini mama telling me, Malcolm, you know you ain't good enough. You can't do that. Come on, boy, sit up straight. No, oh, okay, well, that's, I don't know if Mini Mama would say sit up straight. She'd probably say, sit up straight, because if you don't, you're gonna hunch for the rest of your life. That's what Mini Mama would say. Uh, so anyway, yeah, give give your inner bully a name, an image, do whatever you can to separate your inner bully from yourself. That is detach. So detect. Now you've detached. Now detox is simply doing it all over again and repeating it so many times that it becomes second nature to you, right? So it's no longer a conscious habit or a conscious action that you need to do. It is now in your unconscious. It's an unconscious activity. So whenever you hear that voice, that distorted voice, you can't do this. You're not good enough. You'll never be good enough. People like you don't ever do this. You can't win $1 million because you don't even play the lottery, and that doesn't even happen to you. It doesn't happen to people like you. No one in your family has won $1 million. What makes you think that you can? I'm going on and on and on. But um, that is the voice. When you detach it, when you detect it and you detach it and you repeat those steps over and over again, then eventually that conscious behavior becomes unconscious. So as soon as that voice perks up in your mind knows that's my inner bully. Your mind can determine that's my inner bully. And that is detoxing. Because once you get to that point, then you are able to function and recognize the inner bully for what it is. So I would, as I said, I'm going to give you this free gift, 5 steps to defeating your inner bully. You can go ahead and download that. I'd like to thank Mary Gooden for allowing me to have this time with you on this summit. Thank you, Mary. I really appreciate it. And I hope everybody got a little bit out of this. Thanks.